How do you fail but end up breaking a debut season record and being top scorer in the league? Riddle me that. Here's the thing. So, a narrative I'm seeing out there is Mbappe failed, and Mbappe is the reason why Real Madrid ended up trophyless. Now, I know where this is coming from, but let me just build up to it. You see, we have to tell the truth. We simply have to. I mean, we can try and say this and everything, but the whole point in life or anything is to do, we have to tell the truth. It could be the ugly truth, it could be the uncomfortable truth, but the truth is the truth. See, the truth doesn't discriminate. The truth has no feelings. The truth has no emotions. The truth is a constant. It is what it is. And Mbappe can't be a failure if at a certain level he delivered. At a certain level, he did fail at a certain level, but on another certain critical level, he did the opposite of failing. So I think this notion that, because again, the idea, and I think this is how people want to frame it. Mbappe, huge, massive superstar, big time guy, comes into Real Madrid, and there's now pressure that he has to deliver. And because we live in a very obtuse world that's just very narrow-minded with zero nuance, the idea is, oh no, he's got to come in and he's got to win be top scorer, be the best player, and lead Real Madrid to La Liga title. People forget that this is a team game. And people also forget that Mbappe did do his job in those El Clasico games to a certain extent. So, to a certain extent, his performance was a bit iffy. But Mbappe isn't. See, Mbappe in the Monaco day isn't what Mbappe is right now. See, the Monaco Mbappe, it's goals, it's performance over 90 minutes, it's facilitating, and it's a constant threat as a footballer. But the Mbappe of right now is a pure goal scorer. That's his role. And in a football team, everybody has their role that they have to do. You create. You keep possession. You break up play. You defend. Everybody has their role. His role is, I'm here to score goals. And that's what he's done. He scored goals. That's what he's done. He scored goals. And this is a simple question. Because I think you can see what I'm looking at right there. Like, in case you can see, I think you can see the image right there. That this isn't AI. This is real. Like, this is not CGI. This is not artificially. This is not an artificially generated image. This is real. So when you look at that image, I asked this to the jury: can you be a failure if you score 29 goals? I'll say it again. And guys, try and be objective here. Can you be a failure? The keyword, failure. Can you be a failure if you score 29 goals? Last I checked, 20 goals is a pretty damn good season for a player. Just 20 goals. It's like, oh, that's... I think the record was, 27 by Stefano in a debut season. So when he hit, I believe it was 28, he broke the Stefano's record. So this is the most goals any player has scored in their debut season for Real Madrid. It's simple as that. Because you see, then you say, okay, you scored all those goals, and then what went wrong? The issue is it's bigger than Mbappe. Is Mbappe part of the issue? Yes. Because yes, he scored all those goals, but yes, he's also partly to blame in terms of the overall performance of the team, whether that is off the ball pressing, whether that is linking play with other players and actually bringing other people into play. But we all know the guy that we call Mikos Askes. We all know that Rudiger wasn't as good as he was last season. We already know that Militao was injured. We already know that Asensio, he was just a guy that was just brought into the game. We all know that Tchouameni is not a defender, and he was badly exposed as a defender. He is a midfielder trying to play as a defender. And we all know that Vinny wasn't as good as he was last season. Rodrigo wasn't as good as he was last season. Bellingham was not as good as he was last season. Eureka. So the reason why Vinny wasn't as good, Bellingham wasn't as good, and all these guys wasn't as good was because of Mbappe. Mbappe made them worse. So by Mbappe's introduction, he made Bellingham worse. He made Vinny worse. He made Rodrigo worse. Is there any truth into that? Here's the reality. And this reality that you want, that you can't deal with here, whether you like it or not. The reality of the matter is, people feel a way about Mbappe. And people say, wait, but how, why? What's the? He's just a nice, lovely guy who just scores goals. People will never forgive Mbappe for this. And I know it's very annoying because it's like Argentina won the World Cup. Messi won the World Cup. Football finally won. Football's golden child, who was dominated football for so long, finally said what's up, and he got to the freaking World Cup. So what's so wrong? I think that there is a deep hatred for Mbappe. And this comes from the fact that in Messi's finest hour, Mbappe overshadowed it. Because let's be real, when we think about that World Cup final, who is the one player we think of performance-wise? Who is the player that you think of? You see, Argentina won the World Cup, but who's the player you think of? It's Mbappe. Because he's this guy that's got a hat-trick. He's the guy that's, and I've said this, and I've been watching football for a long time, that equalizer is one of the greatest moments in sports history. In terms of the content of the game, the nature of it being the equalizer, how he scored the goal, on the platform he scored the goal, and how that's changed the entire game, that is literally one of the craziest moments in football history. And Mbappe single-handedly made that game a classic. Bro, Argentina were washing France. Bro, that was a one-sided affair. One man single-handedly made that game one of the greatest sports games we've ever seen in history. And because of what people said about Mbappe and what he did, it's like he messed up what was the perfect story. Because the perfect story was Messi scores the winning goal. And I thought, bro, that's it. Perfect story. But Mbappe was like, nah, sorry. We're taking this to penalties. You're not beating me in regulation. You will never beat me in regulation. You will only beat me when I don't have any power to beat you, which is in penalties. Because penalties is, if I score my penalty, it's now up to a lottery. But over regulation, where I have the power in regulation to decide this game, you will not beat me. You may draw, I'll beat you, but you will not beat me. And because of that, I think people have a hatred for Mbappe and they've always wanted him to fail. They've always wanted him to fail. And the narrative that people want to push is it's Mbappe's fault. He's the reason why everyone failed. He kicked out Neymar, or Messi's daddy, all that stuff. And if Real Madrid failed, it's because of Mbappe. And I get it. I understand. It's a natural human emotion, and I completely get the human emotion, and I completely get the hatred of Mbappe, of the reason why he keeps on owning Messi and always overshadowed Messi in his finest moments. I get the emotion. But sometimes you've got to put emotion aside and just keep it real. And if we're keeping it real, Real had greater issues other than Mbappe. They simply did. And this was about Ancelotti. This was really about Perez. That was what this was really about. So if you want to be honest, it's more complicated. I still think that Mbappe does not really fully fit into this team, and that comes down to Ancelotti. But it's Perez. Did Ancelotti want Mbappe specifically? We don't know. Now, Ancelotti may be like, oh, he's a quality player, but we don't know whether Ancelotti was like, oh, for how I see this team for next season, I want Mbappe in this team, even though I already have a left-sided player in Vinny, and we need a player to play through the middle, and we need a midfielder. So This is about team construction because, yes, he scored 29 goals, but those 29 goals help the team win enough games to lead up to a trophy. You can have a guy that scores lots of goals, but those goals lead you to winning games. I'd rather have a player that scores 15 goals. Those 15 goals help the team to win games that lead to a trophy. I'd rather have that. So this is about the team didn't work. And the team never worked. But just by virtue of Mbappe's talent and how good he is, he just found a way to score. He just found a way to get goals, even though he still wasn't a full fit into this whole team. So the notion that this is Mbappe's fault, that's Mbappe's to blame, you're just hating. you're just hating. You're just hating. But the reality is, from Mbappe knows that a trophyless season is a trophyless season. It is what it is. But the issue, though, that this is about horrendous team building. This is about horrendous team building. Because where is it the Toni Kroos replacement? Where is the striker down the middle? How do you not have defensive cover, specifically in the winter window? So these are the things that lead you to believe like, oh yeah, you know what, it's more than that. It's more than just one player not fitting into the whole team. Because, again, Vini did not have a good season. How is that Mbappe's fault? Bellingham did not have a good season. How is that Mbappe's fault? Rodrigo did not have a good season. How is that Mbappe's fault? Lucas Vazquez is a trash defender. How is that Mbappe's fault? Rudiger was not as good as he was last season. How is that Mbappe's fault? Tchouameni is a trash defender. How is that Mbappe's fault? Ancelotti's tactics did not have a plan B, and he didn't really chop things around, and he did not play players that he should have played in specific games, and he did not have enough tactical changes during matches through the season. How is that Mbappe's fault? It's like, I'm sorry, So I get it. You need the narrative to be that Mbappe failed. But I'll end it here. If PSG do win the Champions League, it is a narrative that I don't know how I can ignore that. And that is Mbappe's fear. Mbappe right now has gone to a witch doctor and has purchased a PSG doll. And they're currently about 20 pins in that PSG doll. Because if PSG win the Champions League the very season he leaves to big-time Real Madrid, and with that big-time Real Madrid, they end up trophyless, and his previous team, his real hometown team, end up winning Ligue 1, winning the French Cup, but most importantly, winning the Champions League. The very season he leaves, the optics look insane. The optics look absolutely freaking insane. So that's where we're at with it now. But I just think that, look, whether you like Mbappe is still an extremely talented player, I feel that he's, footballing wise, I think he's declined because I miss the player from Monaco. I believe that player at Monaco, footballing wise, was doing something very, very special and was a very, very special kind of a player. And I don't think we've seen a progression of that footballing talent at Monaco. But even if we've not seen that, and we may never see the development of that player we saw at Monaco, or that player that we saw in the 2018 World Cup, you're still looking at a ridiculous goal scorer and one of the best strikers of the ball out there. And if Xabi Alonso constructs the team well and builds a team to support Mbappe, but also helps to enhance the team, and the team has a proper structure to supplement Mbappe's amazing goal scoring, Real are going to be back. And Mbappe is going to have revenge on all of you people. And Mbappe FC will be back with a freaking vengeance, and I will be there.
Think about becoming a Football Hut member. If you're a desktop merchant, just click on the join button below, over here. Or if you're a mobile phone merchant, just click on the join button below the video over here and join the true elite content crack addicts. Peace.